Hey there, fellow cozy adventurers! I decided to make my very first granny square of the series, but instead of picking random colors, I chose a palette inspired by a book. I'm not telling you the title yet though. See if you can guess it before I finish the square. Here's a fun crochet fact for you. Granny squares have been around for well over a century and were originally a great way to use up leftover yarn, which honestly sounds like the exact excuse I need to justify my yarn stash. As for today's mystery book, here's your first clue. It's a novella that takes place before a much more famous dark romance series. Don't mind me here, I had to compare my other square because I forgot how many chains I was doing in between the granny square clusters. I'm still getting used to this, so if you guys have any tips, please leave them below or any advice, as I'm trying to get used to either doing voiceovers for these or even eventually talking in these vlog style videos. So as we're nearing the first round of the granny square being finished, I'm pulling it closed and I'll chain up the 3 to finish this first round. For some reason, sometimes I struggle trying to get back into my first chains. I know it's probably a tension problem, but that's okay. Once I get in there and I slip stitch over, I like to chain up 1 and then pull the yarn tight and then I'll cut it. I like to do this so I can guarantee it's a little bit tighter, and I will weave in the ends later on. With that, the first row is done, and here's your second clue. The main character works in a traveling haunted attraction, and let's just say, the guests aren't always the only ones to get scared. I will say one of the things I do to help plan out these granny squares is I input a photo into ChatGPT and I ask different questions, and then I put in my own yarn stash. This way I don't have to buy any new yarn for this project. Like I said earlier, granny squares were meant to use up leftover yarn, and that's just what I'm trying to do. You know, one of my favorite things about books is how each one leaves you with a different feeling, and I just wanted to see if I could capture that feeling in the yarn. Here's another crochet fact for you. One granny square doesn't look like much by itself, but if you combine enough of them, you suddenly have blankets, cardigans, bags, sweaters, and just about anything else you can imagine. I've even made a pair of pants. I won't lie, as I finish the second round, I am definitely enjoying these two colors together. I just may need to make another project with them. I've read a number of different books, and I plan on doing these granny squares for all of them, from the books that I've read in the past and future books I plan on reading. Do you have any suggestions? Leave them below. I read anything from fantasy to dark romance to contemporary romance, and a good rom-com every once in a while. Sometimes I like a mystery book. I'm not super picky. I'll give anything a try. And here's that round 3. This is starting to look a little fiery, but don't take that as a hint for the book. I promise. I don't think there's any fire in it. Well, I know for a fact, if the main character could get some, they would absolutely adore it. Okay, I hope you're ready for that third clue. This book is known for being dark, violent, and absolutely not for everyone. If you've read it, you probably checked the trigger warnings first. I know I did. They're like a shopping list. Sometimes. How are we feeling about the color palette so far? Are you having a good time guessing from just the clues? Or is the color palette helping a little bit? Here's another granny square fact. The classic granny square is worked from the center outward, which is one of the many reasons why I love them. You get to watch the project grow round by round, and let's be honest, they're easy and simple. You get lost in a TV show really easy. You may not be able to tell, but that color I just added is burgundy. Or, well, the closest shade I have to it. I kind of got a little tangled up here, so I needed to reorganize the rest of my yarn colors, as you see there, and separate the ones that I've already used. This way, I don't have a complete mess to deal with. So when I was in the planning phase for this square, and I was going back and forth with ChatGPT, when it decided to pick this brown color, I was questioning it a little bit. But by the end of it, I think it worked out pretty well, and definitely understand why it would do what it did. Okay, guys, let's be honest. Do you like when I speed up the little bit of portions in between the voiceover parts so this way it makes it shorter? Or would you absolutely like the long term video where you see everything in real time? The original length of this video was over 30 minutes long. So, if you guys want that long of a video, I will absolutely leave them that long. If not, I'll continue editing them this short. Alright guys, here's the fourth clue. The author is incredibly popular in the dark romance community, and this story introduced readers to a character who quickly becomes one of the most talked about men on Book Talk. And let's not forget the actual main character of this book. We love the psychoticness. Some of the books might inspire bright, cheerful color palettes, others might be dark and moody and a little chaotic. This one definitely falls in the second category. At this point, if you know, you probably know. Okay guys, here's the last clue before the reveal. This book is often recommended as a starting point before reading a very certain dark romance duet that may or may not be called Cat and Mouse. By the end of this series and journey, my goal is going to be to build a whole collection of book-inspired granny squares. If that's going to be one story at a time, maybe we think of it as a bookshelf made of yarn. Have you guessed which book we've done yet? Maybe, maybe not. Don't forget, drop a comment and let me know if you got it right, and tell me what book I should turn into the granny square next. As I was nearing the end of making this granny square, I was slowly getting distracted by the nature around me and my neighbors and whatnot. But I enjoy sitting outside and I enjoy living where I live, so I won't complain. It gives a little extra spice while I'm working. I will also say for my next ones, I'm going to have to figure out a better sitting situation because by the end of this, my arms were stinging a little and I'm not 100% sure why, which is why I decided to sit up here. And with the last few stitches and a quick pull, we're finished with the granny square for this vlog. This is not the first book inspired one that I've done, but I'll show those in a second. These colors for this square were inspired by Satan's Affair by H.D. Carlton, who is one of my absolute favorite authors. The other books that inspired this project to go forward were Butcher and Blackbird, and a book called Capture the Moment. Tune in for the next one, guys.